Hey everyone, it's Bashi B here, Attorney B, Bridget. I know that my profession is an attorney, and because I'm so busy most of the times, I don't get to do something that I actually enjoy very much, which is cooking. This has been the most I've ever actually spent in my house, so I'm pretty excited. Last week, I made a Jamaican dish called corned beef and cabbage, and I posted that dish, and there were a lot of people interested in it, wanting the recipe. And so this week I decided to do a remix because I am craving it. It was so good. So today I am here in my kitchen, and with the help of my children, we are going to make corned beef and cabbage Jamaican style. So I hope you enjoy our little show. I want to show you that meals don't have to be super expensive, and it doesn't have to take a long time. So let me start with our ingredients. Of course, you can't have corned beef and cabbage without the cabbage. So here I have the whole cabbage, and I'm going to cut the cabbage up.
Okay, it's on.
Okay, we are back. Apparently the Wi-Fi wanted to act crazy. Okay, so anyway, like I was saying, this is the whole cabbage, and you're gonna see me cut it up. I also use a combination of dry seasoning and wet seasonings, okay? So for the dry seasoning, my favorite seasoning in a Caribbean household is adobo. Okay, I like adobo because it does not have any MSG, and it just gives a lot of flavor. So this is always my main base with anything that I'm doing. I always season with adobo. When you season with adobo, you don't really need to use salt, so I don't put any salt in what I'm doing. And again, the most important thing is that adobo does not have MSG. I used to also cook a lot with a Spanish seasoning called sazon, but I recently actually read the label, and it does have MSG, so I've stopped using it. Now, my second all-time favorite spice is cayenne. I don't do paprika. I love cayenne. I love spicy food, so anything I cook always has some cayenne in there. Okay. Also, I love garlic. So garlic is a wonderful seasoning, and I do the powdered, and I also do fresh seasoning. So here's my fresh garlic. It's all washed and prepared to go. I also use this allspice. Sometimes I use cloves. I don't have cloves, so I just have allspice, but it's like pimento, cloves, all grounded up. And I absolutely love the smell of it. Basically, I use whatever that is in my spice rack. I don't have any black pepper, but you can also use black pepper. I don't have black pepper, so we're gonna do without, and the allspice kinda covers it. So for the seasonings, let me actually go on my daughter's page so I can see who's on here with me. Sandy says she loves my lipstick. Thank you. So this is my lipstick because I figured people might be somewhat interested in it. This is from Anastasia, and it's called Requiem. I love it because it's bold, it's hot. So anyway, that's the lipstick. Make sure I can see all of the comments here. So if you're watching, go ahead, stop by and say hello, and I can say hello back. Okay, so that's my dry seasoning. The fresh seasonings that I use, you could see here, Steven, who is an amazing chef, he's doing the onions. I like fresh onions chopped up in here. I also like to add, just for a little color and flavor, these sweet peppers. We're just gonna use a little bit because I don't necessarily like sweet peppers, but just to give it a little flavor, I'll throw that in there. Some people also put tomatoes in there. I'm not terribly a big fan of tomatoes, so I personally don't use tomatoes. But again, like I said, I also use fresh garlic, which is just great, especially good for your immune system in these times. So what I do, I don't chop up the garlic, what we do is we'll take something that we have like this, and we'll crush it and put it into the seasonings, the fresh seasonings. The other thing I put, again, I like to cook with spice, so this is the major pepper that we use in Jamaica. They come in all different colors, but this is called a Scotch bonnet pepper. This is definitely not for the faint-hearted. So if you can't handle pepper, this is not the pepper you need to be cooking with, okay? So the hottest part of the pepper is actually the seeds, and you'll see that. So I don't put a whole lot of seeds in there, but I do put some seeds because I do want a little kick in there. But you have to be very careful with this. I wear contacts, so you better believe I'm gonna be washing my hands like crazy so that I don't burn my eyes when I'm taking out my contacts. Now here is my personal secret for making the best corned beef sandwich. Not corned beef sandwich, cabbage and corned beef. I love thyme. The flavor of thyme, it is just so delicious. So I didn't realize this morning before I went to the grocery store that I actually had thyme. Now this thyme in Publix was almost $3 for this little thing here, okay? The one that I actually had at home was 45 cents at Key Food. So for stuff like this, I buy this kind of stuff in Publix because it's so much cheaper. Not in Publix, in what's the place called? Key Food, because it's a whole lot cheaper. 45 cents compared to almost $3. This supposedly is organic. We'll see. So that's what I'm going to put into our stuff here today. Also, I'm going to be making some rice for the side. This is jasmine rice. I know I've been keto for a while, but I've also been not keto for a while. I've been so bad with my diet, but this is my comfort food right here. And if you grew up in the Caribbean, you know rice is a staple. We eat rice with everything. We eat rice for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So you can't really get away from it. Also have some sea salt here. In Jamaica, we add a little bit of salt, and we also add a little bit of butter. Now, you might think what you're using is butter, but it might be margarine. And I personally love the real stuff. So Kerrygold brand of butter is the absolute best butter I have ever tasted in my entire life. And I will never ever go back to using anything other than this brand of butter. So as you see me preparing the rice, you'll see that I'll add a little bit of salt, sea salt, as well as a little bit of butter to give it a little bit of extra flavor. So let me see who else is on. If you're on, just drop a hello so that I can say hi. Diego Conchaldo is saying, hey Diego, nice to see you. Okay, so my part, I've already washed the cabbage, so it's prepared to go, and I've peeled off most of the outer skin. So all I'm going to be doing right now is cutting up this cabbage. And you want to use a large cutting knife because it can be a little hard to cut. Okay, so I'm going to put what I cut in this nice pretty big bowl. So some people cut their cabbage really big. I kind of like mine medium to small, so it's kind of easier to eat and chew up. So literally, this meal doesn't take long, and it's cheap. I think I bought the cabbage for like less than $1. The most expensive part of this meal is the actual corned beef itself. Corned beef can vary. You have different brands, you have different price points. I personally like Libby's. I also like Grace brand, but Grace brand is like $7 and something, so I'm not buying that. This was $5. There's also another brand called Excelsior that I like, and it's pretty good. So you can really make a great meal for under $10. And man, My mouth is watering. I've been waiting to make this meal for all week. I've been craving to have back some cabbage and corned beef. So you just transfer that over to the bowl. And you might be wondering, wow, seems like a lot of cabbage. When you get down to it, cabbage shrinks. So it looks like a lot right now, but by the time you cook it up, it's gonna shrink down to a manageable size. So I don't like to waste anything. So I really try to cut as much of the cabbage as I can without wasting it. So try to get the best of it so you don't waste. All right, so this is like a medium-sized cabbage. That's all you need. And again, if you're joining me live or you're just joining in, I am basically showing you my recipe for cabbage and corned beef, Jamaican style. I made this last week and it was such a hit that I decided to do it again and to share my recipe with you. So if you're watching and you decide to make it later, let me know how it comes out. I wonder if Wanda is watching. She wanted my recipe. So Wanda, this is all for you. Okay, so have the other half that's ready to be added in. And we will go from there. So again, I don't cut my cabbage too thick. I don't like it too thick. So cutting it like this for me is pretty good. These slices. You want to try to get as much of the cabbage so you don't waste as possible. We're getting there. We are getting there. So this is Jamaican cabbage and corned beef to be topped off on the side with some steamed jasmine rice. Sounds yummy, right? I'm being assisted today on the video with our videographer, Miss Brianna, and my assistant chef today is Steven. Steven is actually a really good cook. He cooks a lot more than I do in the house. I think the men in the house cook more than us girls. Right, Brianna? But ain't nobody can top mama's cooking, so whatever, boys. When mama cooks, she cooks. So this is our cabbage. And we are now ready to add in some of the other ingredients. So let's start to make sure that we're cleaning up while we cook. This is a big thing for my husband. He always gets on me and a few other people in the house saying that we have to clean while we cook. So let me do that. Won't have too much time. I'll just pop this over here for now. We're making some headway with our seasonings. So Steven's doing pretty good over here. Let me start preparing some of the garlic. So because I use a mixture of dried and fresh seasonings, there really isn't a need to do a whole lot. But I love garlic, so I'm always extra with the garlic. Chop off the top. And yes, this is a little bit lazy. I always buy the garlic already peeled because ain't nobody got time for that. You know, it just takes time to peel off the skin of the garlic and all that stuff. So I usually get this already peeled and prepared. And of course, I'm still cutting off little parts that doesn't seem too good. Get another cutting board here. Getting my cutting board back. If you notice, there was no meat on here, so I can still use this cutting board.
There are a few comments.
Brianna's telling me there are a few comments. So let me finish up with my garlic, and then I will get back on the live. Okay, so that's...
I think you need something heavy.
Yeah, let me get my jerk. Actually, we can use this. Wipe off the bottle. Can dry it off. And there we go. So we just crush the garlic. Crush the garlic, Bridget, not your fingers. Throw it in there. Oops, we're losing some. Just beat down the garlic a little bit. And toss it in.
Someone says tengo hambre.
Someone is hungry. And don't worry guys, my counters have been meticulously cleaned. So anything that falls on my counter is fine. I use, Brianna, if you want to show this organic cleaner, that's what I use on all of the surfaces in my house. I ran out of my Clorox stuff, but I kind of like this organic stuff because it protects your skin and it's just better for the environment. So that's what I've been using to clean. I did find it on Amazon, so that's pretty good. Okay, so I told you this really is the secret ingredient. I love thyme. I've already washed it. So look at that. It smells so good. Now you just chop it in a couple pieces.
Should I just read you the comments?
Yes, Brianna, you can read me the comments in English, please. Because this girl is obsessed with Spanish. So there is my thyme. It's great flavor. Okay. Might add a little bit extra just because I'm extra.
Diana Maheado says, great video. I love how your Jamaican accent comes out when you get passionate, lol. Do you use pimento in your food?
I do actually cook with pimentos. It's one of the things I love to cook with, so I do have pimentos in there, but I wouldn't put something like that in here. I usually use pimentos with meats. So when I make my curry chicken and different things like that, that's what I use. I do use pimentos. Of course it was Jesus that says, tengo hambre. Hola Jesus, ¿cómo está? I see my niece tuning in. Ellie Wagwan, Winsome. I'm following you, sis. Yes, I'm being careful. My husband says that whole garlic is better. The one is better than the one that comes in the jar. I know, but I'm so lazy sometimes. Sure, child, you just don't even know. Miss Daphne's on too, Miss Patricia. Two Miss Patricias. So the lipstick that I am wearing, Stephen, can you put these back in the fridge? We're done with here so we can clean up our area. Oh, I am missing one thing. So Stephen is helping me out in the kitchen. He's finished up his part. So we are pretty good with our fresh seasonings. We have orange pepper, green pepper, as well as onions. Oh, that fell. And if you just heard our door, that was my cat Ginger, who literally just opened the back door and came inside. She is really smart, and I hope to catch her on video one of these days. So here we go. This is all going into our cabbage. all going into our cabbage. This bowl will not allow me to really mix it up, but you don't really need to, because once the cabbage starts to shrink, you are able to mix it in the pot. So here, like I said, this is the habanero pepper. If you're a wuss and you can't do spicy, this is not the pepper for you. So remember I said the pepper seed makes it really hot. So to just get the flavor of the spicy pepper, you want to really focus on the outside of the pepper and not the seeds. Otherwise, if I put all of these seeds in there, nobody can eat it because it's so hot. I probably can eat it because I really love spicy foods, but if you're not a spicy person, but you want to have some of that flavor, then this is the best way to do it. Just cut around the pepper.
Melissa Monroe says, hey auntie, what are we cooking?
Hey Ellie, I am cooking corned beef and cabbage. Because last week I made it, and let me tell you, everybody in the house tear it up, and I have been craving it all week. And when I posted my picture on Facebook last week, Saturday, a bunch of people were saying, hey, I want the recipe. So I decided to do a remix and to follow in your mom's footstep and do it live. Okay, so we are doing pretty good. Steven is so happy to be away. He has done his part. Y'all should have seen that boy's face. He's hysterical. Anyway,
Patricia Navarro says, do you make oxtails?
do I make oxtails? I do. I have some oxtail right now that is thawing out. And I will probably make that tomorrow. So yes, I do make oxtails, and my oxtails are the bomb. My mom said, oh, did y'all hear my mama trying to play me out? Because yes, she makes amazing oxtails, and I'm just starting now, but my oxtail be good. Right, Miss Daphne? Miss Daphne, who from the office eat my oxtail before? Don't you like it? Tell my mama that she raised a good cook, okay? Because she got jokes, y'all. My mom got jokes. Okay, so because I want to get going, what I'm gonna do before I add in my dry seasoning, I am going to get the pot ready. So this kind of pot in Jamaica or the Caribbean, it's called a Dutch pot. So I use this to cook all kinds of stuff, meat, fish, everything. It's my favorite kind of pot. So that's what I'm going to cook my cabbage in. And I no longer use corn oil, vegetable oil, canola oil. Those oils are so bad for you. So in my house, we only use olive oil. This is my favorite, avocado oil. And we also use coconut oil. So those are the only 3 oils that we use in this house. And this is just the Publix brand. It's about $15. It's a bit of an investment, but it's really much healthier for your heart. So I don't have measurements. I don't do measurements. So I just throw a little oil in the pot. Okay, just enough to cover the pot because I don't want it to be greasy. You just need enough to cover the pot. And remember, this springs water. So you don't need to put water or anything like that in the pot. So let me take my time and get my cabbage in there.
Tela Raya says, hola, se me haría delicioso.
Oh yes, it's gonna be so good. And this meal can be cooked for less than $10, okay? Less than $10. And of course I'm taking longer to make it because I'm kind of talking you guys through the process I use. So I'm just folding, I just spilled some of it, but I'm folding in my cabbage, and this is a big mess. Folding in my cabbage, okay? Let me clear this up. This is the reality of how cooking works. Y'all know we spill stuff all the time, okay? It doesn't look perfect like on TV. So sometimes we get spillage, and that's okay. We are able to literally just clean up if we have a spill.
Miss Stephanie says, no, I won't do that to Miss Thelma, but yeah, your oxtail is aight. No, all jokes, our oxtail is the bomb.
You hear that, mommy? Miss Daphne said she's not gonna sell you out, but my oxtail is the bomb, all right? So I'm getting some support here. All right, so now that we have this going, I am going to start adding in some of my seasonings. Okay? Again, this is the all-purpose seasoning. So I don't know if you're really Jamaican or from the Caribbean or from Latin America, Puerto Rico, if you don't use adobo. So this right here, this is the bomb. So again, I don't measure anything. I cook to taste. And remember, there's a lot of cabbage, so I'm probably going to put a little bit extra seasoning on there. So I do my adobo. Love garlic, so we're going to put a little garlic on there as well. Told you I love the flavor of cayenne pepper, so just putting a little bit, because we remember I put habanero pepper in there, Scotch bonnet, so you don't need a whole lot of it. I just like the flavor, it gives it a little kick. This is one of my favorites, allspice. I don't have black pepper, and I'm not using pimento, so this will do that function for me. Again, the adobo has rice, has salt, so I really don't need it. So what I'm gonna do now, just put a little tip of water to help all of this steam. So basically, I'm gonna get this started. So while that's going on, I'm gonna put away my ingredients back into my spice rack.
Becca Moriello says, you're making me hungry.
Who says that?
Becky Moriello.
Hey Becky from North Carolina, how you doing, boo? Okay, so that's done. So the next thing that you guys might find strange is in the Caribbean, when we're making rice, we actually wash the rice. So this is my pot, my rice pot. This is just regular, some jasmine rice. I don't have a special brand or anything that I use. Again, I don't measure anything. I just cook from sight. So
washing rice is only a Jamaican thing?
Yeah, my daughter's like, washing rice is a Jamaican thing. I think so, because when I was in Connecticut and I was visiting my host family for a weekend, and I told them I would make them dinner, and I washed the rice, and they looked at me like I was crazy. So I don't know if the Barbies are watching, but do you guys remember when I made rice and you thought, wow, I didn't know that you washed the rice? But look, this is the reason why we wash the rice. So you see how the water is cloudy? So we're washing off all of that extra. I don't know if it's called, I don't really know what it is, to tell you the truth. But I usually rinse the rice off like 3 times to get the water as clear as possible.
Tara Lindsay says it's an American country girl thing too.
I think it's actually one of those remnants of slavery, because probably the rice that black people got was the bottom of the barrel. So let me take it back to the old days. Before you even got to washing the rice, you'd have to pick out the little brown dirt, you know, shells of the rice grain, but those have gotten much better now. So I don't really have to pick the rice, but you're looking to make sure also if the rice was stored, you're looking for, what's the thing called? Weevil. You're looking for insects in the food. So that's how I grew up, that you wash the rice to make sure that it's clean. So that's definitely something that, a Jamaican tradition that I have taken with me. So
Mariah says, yo también lo lavo mi arroz. And then Miss Daphne says, yes, in my hometown too. I think it's an Islander thing. Chela Raya?
Oh, Miss Chela. Okay. Yes. So you see what I mean? These are traditions I think comes from
Miss Daphne says,
people
I think
that
it's
are
an Islander
descendants
thing
of slaves. I think it's just something left over, and you will see that throughout Caribbean or Latin cultures. So again, I don't measure how much water I put in, but I put enough to make sure that the rice comes out tender and soft, not sappy, just the perfect texture. So this is my little thing with my rice pot. So
I like squishy rice.
Let's make sure I don't have anything on here. Okay, so I always put it on the rapid boil. You want to turn it up so that it gets a good boil pretty quickly. Now, remember when we started, I told you I put a little bit of sea salt. So I put a little bit of salt into the rice, and I also put the Kerrygold butter. If you do not use Kerrygold butter, you have lost half of your life. All the other stuff is like a poor substitution, but the point is, don't use margarine. Don't use all that garbage. Do not use it at all. It's terrible for you. So butter is actually good for you. It's a good fat. This was something I learned from my keto journey. So to make the rice nice and soft and stuff, I do put a little bit of this Kerrygold butter in there. I'm going to bring down the fire on that a little bit. So that should be going. And I just put a little chunk of butter in there. A little tops, right? So you put your butter in, and then you're ready to go. You're going to bring that to a boil. If you notice my refrigerator, this is one of the things I hate about Corona. I can't travel. So on my refrigerator, wherever I go, these are the simplest souvenirs to bring back, because sometimes you don't have space in your suitcase. So wherever I go, I always bring back something from that country. So on this side of the refrigerator, we have my international travels. A friend of mine sent me this one from Jamaica. It's so funny. Here's Amsterdam, Canada, Guayaquil, Galapagos, and Ecuador. Eso es Mexico. Cuba, London, more Canada, St. Kitts, Peru, St. Lucia, Antigua, Puerto Rico, St. Martin, Toronto, Paris, Jamaica, of course. And this is Cali, Colombia. It's a cute little cat. Miss Martha gave that to me. And then on this side, I have local cities that I've been to. So places all over the United States. Here's where I went to Grand Canyon, Dallas, Albany, Vermont, New York, Miami Beach, New Jersey, Texas, just all over. Los Angeles, Boston, Hollywood, DC, New York, Charleston, San Antonio, San Francisco. So that's why I collect that. So if you ever go to a country and you want to gift me something, just a little cheap souvenir like that to put on my refrigerator is a perfect gift. Okay, so let's see what's going on with our cabbage. You see, it's still cooking down. It's still seasoning. So let me get one of my little spoon here, I'm gonna start dealing with it. So things is starting to cook down. It's starting to reduce. So it'll just take a few minutes for it to do that.
You should probably go through some more comments.
There are more comments? Okay, so while this is cooking down, I'll just put that to keep cooking. So the last ingredients, once this comes down to a nice level where it's almost done, then I'm going to open the corned beef. So when I say corned beef and cabbage, maybe you're thinking, if you're not from the Caribbean, maybe you're thinking about the German type of corned beef that they use to make sandwiches. I love that kind of corned beef as well, but this is different. This is product of Uruguay. And like I said, I like this brand, Libby's. I've had this since Jamaica days. So it's really yummy, and it has a unique way of opening it. So maybe I will open it for now and get it ready. So it has a little key at the bottom, and you simply twist to open the corned beef. So this is the corned beef that we will add in to the cabbage once the cabbage has steamed down and it's manageable. So that's what it looks like. Let me get a little bowl here. We don't need that anymore. And yes, I reuse these. This used to be a container for honey ham. I keep all these little containers and I reuse them. So that might also be a tradition from people from different islands. So I'll put this in the recycling. My daughter says I have a bunch of comments, so let me look at some of these comments. Let's see how the rice is doing. It hasn't started boiling yet, so we're good. Lenora saying yummy. Oh my gosh, yes, it's so nice. So Carol, who is a fantastic cook, I buy dinner from her every Friday. Carol says what we're seeing is the extra starch. So that's a great reason to also wash your rice, because you're getting rid of the extra starch. Kristen, my BFF from Ohio, says she loves my lipstick. This lipstick is called Requiem. This is very bold, by Anastasia. So I usually get it from Sephora. Tara says, yes, hey. Yeah, and for my niece Ellie, talking about the pink Himalayan salts, I also use that. I actually have a big old one there. Because it's so big, we got it from BJ's. I just wanted to use the little tiny one. Let's see, who else? Oh, Miss Patricia is saying her husband makes oxtail soup. Oxtail with rice. Wow. Well, we don't make oxtail soup in Jamaica. We just cook up the oxtail. I use a pressure cooker to do it. Pressure cooker, and make it nice and nice. So that's probably what everybody gonna get for dinner tomorrow. So let's see again our progress. We're making progress. I might turn it up a little bit. Turn up the fire a little bit. But boy, if you guys can smell the flavor already coming out of it. How does it smell, Brianna? Amazing. Yeah, you see the garlic. I'm bringing up some of the thyme, and you see it's making a nice little gravy on the bottom. So man, I wish y'all could come over, because this thing tastes so nice. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. It really, the smell, and you know what I'm smelling a lot of is the thyme. The thyme gives it such a wonderful smell. I'm enjoying that smell. I'm probably gonna put a little bit more because remember when I poured in the cabbage and the seasonings, it all went to the bottom. So now that I've tilled it up, I'm probably gonna just put a little bit of adobo because none of the seasoning that I had on the top probably reached to the bottom. And you don't need a whole lot. And again, I just love allspice, that pimento, nice little flavor. So that's what I put in here. And I'm just gonna let it keep bubbling down. The rice, you see the rice is coming along nicely as well. All right, so now I'm mixing in my little butter. Now that it's all nice and melted with my sea salt, and it's coming on nice. It is coming on real nice.
And Patricia says I'll be there in 30 minutes, Bowl.
Yeah, you can come. Come outside with your plates. I'll serve you from outside. Oh my goodness, who else is there? Next stop needs to be to Roatan Bay Island. Miss Daphne, how you gonna get me to Roatan? You're too funny. So while we're doing all this waiting, we can start just kind of crushing up the corned beef. It's not really necessary. You can do it while it's in the pot, it's fine. But since we have time, we can go ahead and do that, no worries. It's pretty good, pretty good. And then literally we're gonna just work it into our corned beef. I'm still gonna put it up a little bit. Let me.
I think you need to mix the rice more. I can smell it. I can smell the rice. Oh, I guess that's the stuff on
Yeah, that's just the fire, Brianna. So look, it's nice and perfect. It didn't boil over. It's a perfect temperature. So once the rice dries down a little bit more, I am going to turn it all the way down so that it can just steam. So the reason it's up so high right now is for the rice, the water, to actually boil and cook the rice. So let me see where I am with this now. Boy, this thing smells so good. This look good. It look good. Have y'all ever tried this? Do you think you'll try it at home? Most of these ingredients, you can get them all at Publix. You can get them at Key Food. Any of your local grocers will have it. And if you don't know what section to find the corned beef in, it's probably in the international aisle, or it is in the canned meat section. So you would normally find it maybe close to where you have things like canned sardine, canned mackerels, Vienna sausage, those kinds of meats, canned tuna. You'd find it in that section too.
Aisha says, hello, can I get some please?
Who's that?
Aisha.
Hey! Hey, Cuzzo. Yes, you have to come for it. All right, so my cabbage go on bubble. It look good. So I am so hungry. I cannot wait for this to be over and I can actually eat. So have y'all learned anything?
Yes, exactly.
Tracy says her husband cooks it all the time. Then him a big chef a cook corned beef and cabbage, what you say? Eh? The big chef a cook that. A little people like me supposed to cook corned beef and cabbage, you know. Anyway, no, this is actually a Jamaican staple. So when I posted my picture last week of my meal, people were saying this is poor people food. And I disagree with that. Maybe back in the day, we would eat it because we couldn't afford chicken or fish or beef or meat. And this is a cheaper version of a meal. But to me, it is something that reminds me of back home. And like I said, the corned beef, it's not cheap. One can of this, sometimes you see them for $7. That is not cheap. This one that I got, the Libby's brand that I like, it was $4.99. Was it $4.99 or $5.99? Something like that. But to me, that's not necessarily that cheap. But it's just something that we enjoy from back home, and it always reminds me of Jamaica. So I don't mind making it. To me, it doesn't mean anything crazy. It's not no poor people food. It's something that we love to eat in Jamaica. All right. Oh wow. Tracy says the Caribbean Super Center in Orlando has them on sale for $2.99. Girl, I ain't going all the way down there. I'm just doing it. It was so close by. So that's why I ended up just going to Publix, our key food here in Claremont. Okay, so now I am ready to add in my corned beef. This cabbage is a lot of cabbage. It looks like more cabbage than I had the last time. So I might open and use another half can of corned beef, but let me see how it's going. Also, don't want to burn up my rice, so let me turn it down. So then you're just now mixing in your corned beef with your cabbage. You see how easy? Nice and easy. You're mixing in your corned beef with your cabbage. And it looked like the cabbage definitely swallow up the corned beef. So we don't want mostly cabbage, we want enough corned beef. So good thing I'm gonna buy 2 cans, because this your cabbage look greedy. Just a swallow up the whole like corned beef. So I might open another one, corned beef, just to have a little more meat in there. And you see my nice garlic, crushed garlic. I don't mind eating that stuff. So it's coming along good. We're almost done. And you see how quick it cooks? Less than a half an hour. And you have a meal. You have a meal for less than $10, and it cooks fairly quickly. So I'm going to turn this down now. I want a little gravy, so I'm also going to just put a little dab of water in there.
Everyone says it looks good.
Yeah, man. It's a guan. I'm going to get another corned beef. So here is another brand that's pretty good, Excelsior. This is a product of Brazil. But this brand pretty good too. And Excelsior is a Jamaican brand. Okay, Excelsior, they make all kinds of products. But my favorite thing that Excelsior makes is their water crackers. I love my crackers and butter. I love it. So I always go to Golden Crust and buy my crackers. So I'm only opening a second can because the cabbage is swallowing up the corned beef, and I want to have a little more corned beef in there. So I'll probably put a half of this in. And then we're pretty much done. This is a good meal. Good, easy meal to make. Again, just gonna add a little bit more. Let me check on my rice. You see how my rice look good? That's what I'm talking about. My rice look good. It didn't boil over. You can see little bits of traces of the butter in there, and literally you can eat this rice without anything else. So My rice is done. I don't even have to taste it. It is not too shelly. I hate shelly rice. And it's not too sappy, so it's not wet rice. It is just perfect blend. So I'm gonna turn off this fire.
Turn it down.
Yeah, I already turned it down. You hear my mom telling me how to cook? 42 years old and she's still telling me how to cook. She's over in the living room giving me instructions. Oh Lord. So let me just put in a little bit more. Oh, half more of this. And then the rest of the corned beef now, if I feel like it tomorrow for breakfast, I will cook up some onions, some more thyme, some more fresh seasonings, and I'll saute that out, and then I'll put this in there. So you can actually eat this by itself, cooked up. Sometimes we don't even cook it up. We make corned beef sandwiches with hardo bread. And that is a delicious, if you're going on a road trip, that's something that you can put in there. My children, they know the sign of a road trip. We have Nana, my mom, make corned beef sandwich. But since we've been home, Brianna has made corned beef sandwich and Steven. So they have learned how to make it themselves. So you see the difference? You see what happened now? I have some gravy. That little bit of water, it helps the cabbage to steam down and give me some gravy. So that's why I ended up adding in a little bit of extra water so that I can have it. But you see now the corned beef is in competition with the cabbage. And you see the orange pepper just gives it a little bit of interest, gives us some color. And pretty much this is done. This is done and ready to eat. I'm gonna probably let it steam for a few more minutes. The garlic will cook out a little bit more. And then I'm going to plate it, and then I'm going to eat it. We'll turn that up a little bit more. Put these in the recycling. And y'all, yes, I am ghetto. In every black household or Caribbean household, we multi-purpose with the bags, don't we? Okay, so I'm just keeping it real. So I went shopping at Boot Barn a few weeks ago, and now it is my recycling bag. So I put my recycling in there. I also keep another bag in my pantry, as you can see, that has little plastic bags. So if I need a little bag for anything, I have it there. That, again, I know is a tradition of many Caribbean households and many black households. So let's see. Maxine is saying, yes. Okay, chef, enjoy. Tell her, Miss Thelma. Maxine is saying, tell her, Miss Thelma. Yes, he's watching. Cassandra is watching, saying it looked good. Yeah, man, it looked good. And it smelled good, y'all. I can't wait to jump in on that. And it's so simple. I love it, I love it, I love it. Yes, yes, yes. So all I'm waiting for, I noticed that my garlic hadn't really fully cooked out. So the cabbage is cooked, the corned beef is cooked. It doesn't really take a long time, but I want my garlic to be cooked out in there. So it's the only reason why I'm keeping it on. But from what I see now, here is the final product. I have my gravy. Everything is cooked down, nice and pretty. See, there it is. And that thyme smell, I love cooking with thyme. If you've never cooked with thyme, you're missing out. You are definitely missing out. So try cooking with thyme. It's a wonderful flavor and it just tastes really good. So we're done. turning off the fire. Now, if you've been watching from the beginning, before I sign off and eat, ooh, don't be jealous, I love y'all. Is there any questions that you have about the recipe? You have any questions about it? Drop it in the comments. Si tiene preguntas, dígame. If you have any questions about the recipe, like I said, it is something you can cook up, whip up in less than a half an hour, and it costs less than $10 to make. The main ingredients is your corned beef and your cabbage. Then I add a mixture of wet and fresh seasonings, and you cook it down. It's really, really simple, and it's a delicious meal for a Saturday afternoon. So thank you for joining me. Clearly, something must wrong, because number one, y'all know I don't really cook. I love to cook, but with my work schedule, a lot of times I don't have time. So it's kind of nice to be able to take this time to cook and so forth. So after I finish with this, I finish eating, then I'm going to season up my oxtail for tomorrow. I also bought a package of chicken wings, fresh chicken wings. I don't like the frozen ones, from Publix. $17.99 for the chicken wing. Can you imagine? But I'm gonna season it up and make curry chicken wing as well. So those will be the two meats for tomorrow. I am not going to make rice and peas. I haven't made that in a long time. So too bad, so sad. I'm gonna go and yam white rice. All right. So that's all for now. Thanks for joining me. Oh, I got a comment. Minno said the country pepper. Yes, Miss Junie, the country pepper in it. And I had to tell the people them they can't put the thing there in it. The pepper seed in it. So country pepper definitely into it. Hey Karina, thank you. Long time no see. The lipstick is by Anastasia, and the color is called Requiem. So it's one of my favorite colors, and I usually buy it in Sephora. The brand is Anastasia Beverly Hills, and it's called Requiem. It's a liquid to matte, so I really, really like it. But I'm hungry, so although I love y'all and I appreciate you tuning in to my first cooking demonstration, let's see how it goes. Maybe next Saturday I'll cook some more. If you have any requests of what you'd like to see me cook, you can drop it in the comments and I'll see if I will make it next week. All right? So love you guys. Have a great day. Stay safe and tana your yard.